All right, everybody, welcome back to the Idiots on the Airwave podcast, where we find out the personalities of the idiots, but not the airwaves. Daniel, would you like to describe what we're doing today?
So today we're doing the MBTI Personality Test, and it's pretty straightforward. Test format's pretty simple. You just got like 70 questions to answer, either A or B, and that figures out what kind of person you are due to other things. And then there's very long explanations about all the other types of things. My dad is doing this at a talk at a thing I'm going to tomorrow, and I just explained it right there, and he is laughing silently in front of me. I don't know if he wants to explain it or not, but he does not. Okay, so I don't know how often you've done this test, if you've ever done this test. Have you done this test before?
I don't think this one specifically. I don't know.
Okay, well, I can say that every time I've done this, I score ENFP. Dad, if you could send me some resources on like brief descriptions of every personality, that'd be great too, because these are really long pages. And if you don't send them to me, I'm going to make Miguel read all of them in a Victorian style voice, because that would be really funny.
Oh no.
Let me look at how much this...
Gosh, those are so long. That's the majority of the document.
It's 134 pages of just that.
There's like 3 pages of questions.
Yep. Well, the test is actually page 3, so we don't need to worry too much about that. Anyways, I guess let's just read the intro and get right into it. I don't know who's been what. Dear future chief resident, I'm going to be a future chief, dude. This is great. The following test is designed to measure your MBTI personality type. We will be discussing the theory behind this test and the results it demonstrates during the session on nothing apparently relevant to me. Completing the test should only take about 15 minutes or so.
X.
You have... X?
X. I do not believe.
X'd down. Well, we shall see. There are no right answers to any of these questions. Answer the questions quickly and honestly. Do not overanalyze them. Some seem worded poorly. Go with what feels best. Answer the questions as the way you are, not the way you'd like to be seen by others. Do not look at the scoring sheet until you have completed all the questions. Thank you, sincerely, some doctor. And let's get into the test now.
I think I've broken every single one of those rules so far, but I've already looked at the scoring sheet. So
well, I guess let's just get into it then and just answer it honestly. And we'll discuss each question as we go, I suppose.
right.
So, question 1. At a party, do you, A, interact... What?
B.
B. Well, as for me, I think it used to be a lot more A. Now it's a little more B, but I'll go with A because I can still do that. And you need to write all this down, by the way, because that's part of the tallying of the score at the end. So, yeah, I guess no surprises there for either of us. 2. Actually, let's go either or because I don't want to ask all the questions. How about you? Take the even numbers and I'll take the odd.
All right, 2. Are you more A, realistic than speculative, or B, speculative than realistic?
A. I think I'm A.
This is hard. First of all, heck you test, this is confusingly worded. I wouldn't argue that speculative is the opposite of realistic.
This whole test is literally to provoke that reaction. Just why?
This is hard because I'm kind of both, but I'll go with A because in most normal actions, I tend to lean realistic.
All right. Yeah, I know a lot of people that can be like very hyper speculative, and that's very not attractive to me. So I tend to be a little more realistic just to have some kind of semblance of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all right, so question 3. Is it worse to have your head in the clouds or be in a rut? Is it worse to? Oh, wait. I think B.
I think I agree.
Because being in a rut is difficult. It's kind of like writer's block in a sense.
I just have a grudging respect for people who are kind of disconnected from the real world. I mean, they're annoying, but I have a grudging respect for them.
What's the backstory for that? It's just I hate them, but I respect them.
It's not that I hate them. It's just I think people who have the heads in the clouds can also be just like overly optimistic about all things, and I do have a very
Oh,
grudging respect for that in the sense that I feel like I shouldn't, but I'm just impressed by the fact that they can keep, this sheer optimism in the face of a bunch of different things. So
interesting. All right, it's your turn.
oh right, it is. Are you more impressed by principles or emotions?
Oh, I believe A. I'm not entirely
Damn,
sure
I'm
what
pretty
it
middle on
means.
this.
I don't know what it means really. It's like, am I more impressed by what? Like the principles that the person holds, or their emotional response to things? Like, my dad's rolling my eyes at me right now, like, bruh, how do you not understand this question?
I mean, I'm with you. I'm thinking about like whenever I like study history of, I'm more impressed by their emotions or their principles. Um, to be different, I want to say B, but
You're supposed to answer the way you are, not
yeah, I'm gonna go with A.
A. A it is.
Principles.
Um, are you more drawn towards the convincing or the touching? Ooh, okay. I am pretty middle on this. I could literally flip a coin on this, and
I'd say touching. I tend to be fairly empathetic. Yeah, but I'm with you.
okay.
I'm kind of middle on this. I don't.
I think I'm B as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
Mm,
I would say that's because the wording is drawn towards. I guess I'm drawn towards more the touching, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm more
you are.
convinced by the touching than the convincing.
Okay. Yeah.
You gonna go with B as well?
Yeah, I think I'll go. Yeah, I think I'm going with B.
6. Do you prefer to work A to deadlines, B just whenever?
I
Out of
do I
those two
prefer?
options, I'm going A. Deadlines.
Okay.
I need deadlines.
I need deadlines too, but I do not prefer to work by them at all. I am very much a B person. I like working by my own flow state and not adhering to um, a deadline of any sort. Uh, I'm just going to ignore my dad's responses to me talking now because I just don't understand what message he's trying to send me. I'm just going to move on. You're gonna have so much fun messing with me for this talk tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you tend to choose rather carefully or somewhat impulsively?
Carefully. A. A all the way.
Uh, See, my problem with personality tests is that I'd rather have other people tell me what I am because I don't think I'm conscious enough of my own behaviors to actually know. But uh, uh, somewhat impulsively, I think is what I am. Yeah, I'm going B.
All right. 8. At parties, you stay late with increasing energy or leave early with decreasing energy.
Oh, it's either or depending on the crowd.
Ah, shoot. I'm
It's
I'm stay late with decreasing energy.
I think more often than not. I
B,
think it's
literally.
stay late with you're B. I'm A. I'm A. I do not like being the first to leave a party. I like actually being the last to leave a party. So I will stay late with increasing energy, I guess. I just got to be doing things to increase my energy. Are you more attracted to sensible people or imaginative people? Uh,
Ooh.
I like a sensible imagination.
I'm gonna have to go with B.
I think B too. I think I'm B as well. I don't know the type of sensible people that I've seen is more like way too sensible. I guess I don't know. I've experienced a lot of extremes on both sides of the spectrum, and I think I've tended to enjoy hanging around with more of the imaginative sort.
Are you more interested in A, what is actual, or B, what is possible?
B, all the way. I am way more interested in what is possible.
B.
Oh, you're B too?
Yeah, I think it's well maybe well now I'm second guessing it cuz I would initially say B. No, I'm going to stick with B.
All right.
I'm going to stick yeah, no. I think B.
I think you're a guy that likes to figure out like what how far else can we take things. I think so. I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say that in general. I'm rather uninterested in the I guess here and now in a way. I like
Is it?
history and I like speculation. I'm not very interested in what is actual now. I'm more interested in how we got here and how to go
Yeah.
further.
Well, because you already know the actual, I
Yeah.
guess. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. In judging others, are you more swayed by laws than circumstances, or circumstances than laws?
B. Circumstances. I really hate letter of the law.
So do I. B. Not much more to say on that.
In approaching others, your inclination is to be somewhat objective or personal. In approaching others,
Approaching others concerning what?
I don't. Yeah, I don't understand what this means.
I don't. Um, hmm, personal, as in, I guess, to be a lot more personable. Um, I would assume that means something along the lines of uh,
I guess when you're
a
just talking to them, that I guess then a objective. I guess like in a normal conversation with someone, I would tend to use non-personal stuff.
yeah. I would use A, but I would do it a little more um sneaky, I guess. Because like if you come off as too objective, then you just come off as blunt to a lot of people, which makes a lot of people think you're rude. And as much as I don't care, I also value people's validation a little too much. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. I kind of twist the personal into objective because I find connections in a lot of them, but it's not. I don't know. I think I think A is more suited to me. Are you more punctual or leisurely?
I'm gonna
Oh,
go with
very leisurely.
a punctual.
Oh, that makes sense. I am very leisurely. I cannot punctual. I'm only punctual for showing up to a dinner date, and that's it. I'm way more leisurely. I will straddle the line and just show up fashionably late to a New Year's party. By fashionably, I mean like 45 minutes late, but it's fine because as long as I make it before midnight, it's fine.
Exactly. Does it bother you to have things? Does it bother you more having things incomplete or completed?
Incomplete.
Completed.
Really?
I
You?
despise everything I create.
Why? Is that just out of this
it's
judging of your ability to do the thing properly, or is it because now that it's done, you don't like it?
I just died.
Your audio has died for
Okay,
me.
I'm back. I'm back. Okay, I don't
Oh,
know what that was about.
okay.
Hold on
Okay, so
1 second. Let me make sure it's still using my microphone. Yeah, it is. Okay. Hello?
you just cut again.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That's really weird. Okay, so hopefully I can make this point. Once something is completed, it has no possibility to get better. If it's incompleted, there's room for improvement. Once completed, there's no doing it better.
Would it be easier then to convince yourself that everything is incomplete and that there is something better to be made out of it? Because that's
No,
how I.
not at all. Because once something is done, I'm like, all right, it's done. Moving on. Like it
Oh,
bothers me that it
okay.
couldn't be better, but I also move on pretty quickly, so it's not like
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Um, let's see. In your social groups, well actually hang on, does it bother you more having things complete? Yeah, incomplete is more for me because I like I like trying to complete things and then like adding onto it afterwards because it's not if something isn't done, either I'm going to ignore everything else and just crank it until it's done, or I'm going to sit on it for a long time and just bemoan the fact that it isn't done while not actually ever getting it done. And it completely wears down my personality either way to differing degrees, depending on which way it goes. But I can't stand incomplete things. Something's got to be like done. It's like my desk looks like a complete mess right now. And while I can see where everything is and I don't mind the mess itself, uh, it could always look better. And so cleaning the desk is a never-ending project that will always bother me, and I hate it. um, in your social groups, do you keep abreast of others' happenings or get behind on the news?
I guess A.
Yeah,
I tend to like to
it's
know what's going on.
I get to know what's going on against my will. People just tell me what things are going on. It's kind of like
Same.
gossip, but at the same time, it's good to at least have a general knowledge because I'd much rather know than not know, right?
Yeah.
So I would rather keep abreast of others' happenings than get behind on news, but at the same time, it's like I didn't necessarily choose that.
Yeah. All right. In ordinary things, you are likely to do it the usual way or do it your own way. B. I do things super weirdly.
Oh, B, yeah, absolutely. I just try to figure out how to build a cabinet and then like forget there's a rule book and then I wind up failing and I'm like, where's the thing again? All right. Yeah, writers should A, say what they mean and mean what they say, or B, express things more by use of analogy. Oh. Um so be more direct or be more allegoric?
See, it's hard because it's like it depends. I would rather like people who are trying to make a point say what they mean and mean what they say, so there's less confusion on it. But at the same time, like I don't think that everyone should just like write down the exact meaning of their story because like if it's a story, it's kind of ruined by you directly saying what's about in some ways.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just
maybe that's what the point of this question is like to like figure out how you would write and then answer in regards to that, I suppose.
I would say B. I think interpretations tend to have some pretty significant importance. in what writers create, so I'll go with B.
Well, because I could still like write a fictional story and still drive the point across in a very direct manner without it being like, ridiculous. So I think I would be a lot more on the because if you go too far into the B side, you turn into Christopher Nolan and you just don't know what he actually means at all. Like, I'm gonna be real, I still don't understand anything that I've watched from him. So, did your audio die again?
No, I'm
Because
still here.
oh, okay. Gosh, this is a difficult one for me. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with B. It is still more interesting to be analogic, I suppose. I don't know how to pronounce that word.
All right, 18. What appeals to you more? Consistency of thought or harmonious human relations? B, definitely. I don't like. Yeah, I would say that. I don't know. People who think
What
the
is
same
it?
scare me.
People who think this. So, like, doesn't consistency of thought. Actually, no, consistency of thought does not lead to harmonious human relationships directly. That's
Yeah.
not a. That's actually. Well, I guess if I was to have someone who thought exactly the same way that I did, like exactly, that would be a little. That would be cool for the start. Yeah, I'll go with B on that too. That seems to make more sense to me. Are you more comfortable in making logical judgments or value judgments? What the heck is a value judgment? Okay, now I wonder if your audio is dead
No,
because.
I'm here. I'm just thinking because the problem with this is that I think in general logical judgments tend to be more fair, but if by like value they mean more like just a more subjective judgment.
Or like a
Um,
judgment call?
yeah, I think that tends to lend itself to more justice in certain circumstances.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like the issue of Al Capone, that it's like you can't logically get him because you can't tie him to anything, but everyone knows he's doing it. So
Yeah,
if you can't prove it, but everybody knows it's there.
but you can't prove it. I mean, I know it
Yeah,
ties back to like the letter of the law question, in which you and I both agreed. I think that we would much rather uh, uh, judge things by circumstances rather than laws. But at the same time, if you don't, if there's too many value judgments, then it's uh, then your perception of things can get skewed. I think.
yeah. I'm gonna
I think
go.
logical. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
I'm going
logical
logical.
too.
I'm going A.
Yeah,
You
same.
going A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want things settled and decided or unsettled and undecided? A.
Yeah, A.
Don't like unsettled things.
I will force people to settle things with me because of the amount of stress I receive from not having beef settled. It's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you are more serious and determined or easygoing? Oh, geez, I'm B. I think I'm B. I'm pretty chill.
This is. I'm gonna go with B too. It depends. I'm pretty serious with myself, but I really don't.
I think everyone's pretty serious with themselves.
Yeah, but I'm chill with what other people do. I don't. Yeah.
You're better at hanging loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. In phoning, do you rarely question that it will all be said or rehearse what you'll say?
What is phoning?
Oh wait, that was your question to ask anyway. What is phoning?
I don't know what
That I
phoning
don't. What, just like an interview, I guess. Like what? I guess rehearse what you say means like practicing in front of a mirror. Rarely question. I'm B.
I looked it up and all I got was call someone. No, that's not what I want. No, I stopped trying to define phone. I know what a phone is.
Well, maybe it's just the verbing of a phone. I like how we're all so stupid. We just can't figure out what it means.
Do something with low enthusiasm or effort. So like phoning it in. I think that's what they mean.
Okay.
That it will all be said. Rehearse what you'll say. A.
Yeah, I'm more B.
I'm better at talking myself out of situations than figuring out how to not get into those situations.
honestly, same, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, facts. A, speak for themselves, or B, illustrate principles.
Illustrate principles. Facts are not. They do not speak for themselves.
Facts are not self-evident?
I do not believe so. I don't really think that most facts or objective things really present any self-evident information without interpretation. They're just things. It doesn't mean anything. 1 + 1 = 2 is a fact, but if you can't relate it to anything, it's not really anything. It's just like something that's there.
True. It kind of reminds me of something that we were discussing in a class one time. Some classmate of ours was discussing like how murder being bad is a self-evident truth, and I was sitting there like, wait, no, it's not, because you have to justify that murder is bad. It's like you can't. You have to tie that to something. Yeah. So like, yeah, I think it's B too. It's facts. No, facts don't speak for themselves.
Are visionaries somewhat annoying or B rather fascinating? B. Again,
B.
Respect for visionaries.
B, absolutely. Are you more often a cool-headed person or a warm-hearted person?
Cool-headed.
B. I think I'm a more warm-hearted person. What? What? You don't believe me? You think?
There was something.
Oh, sure. Get out.
It is worse to be unjust or merciless. B. Merciless.
That's difficult. I don't know how you decided that so quickly.
It's something I've thought a lot about.
Well, I've thought a lot about it too. I still have an answer for it. It's like unjustness can lead to mercilessness, but it's like I don't know. I always get kind of stuck up with things not being fair. But I guess, well,
if you get stuck up on things not being fair, then you should be. It's worse to be
merciless. Yeah.
Worse to be unjust. Let's say that fairness is a synonym of unjust. I think mercy in a way is inherently unfair.
Mercy is unfair. Well, technically, I guess maybe it is, because it discounts things. In a sense, so to have no mercy, or to just be generally bad. I think I'll just go with B though. I think B. Yeah. I keep thinking about this like a school quiz. I'm not supposed to think about it like this. All right. Should one usually let events occur A, by careful selection and choice, or B, randomly and by chance? I like the chaos that ensues when things can happen randomly. I'm gonna go with B.
I'm gonna go with A. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's different from a personal to like a social group thing. Like I don't particularly like. I think chaos is a fun thing to have, but I like being centered. I like to be the eye of a hurricane. I'm fine
Yeah.
with the chaos around me. I just don't want to be a part of it.
Well, because it's weird because I typically find the more attractive people, like in as much as like social settings, to be the ones that are just like, "Hey, you want to go bowling tomorrow?" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, you want to go bowling tomorrow?" And I'm like, sure."
That's where
Like,
you and I differ.
no, generally I can do that, but there are cases where it's like where it's like somebody contacts me like in the middle, like when it's nighttime, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go to breakfast tomorrow?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. I was planning out my morning." But generally speaking, yeah, I'm very. I think generally I'm a B person. Yeah, and you're very much an A person.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
28. Do you feel better about having purchased or having the option to buy?
A.
B.
A. I cannot deal with having options to like having the option to buy and like not taking it because it's like, but the thing I'm which is why gifts are so special to me because then it's like, I didn't have to buy it. I just got it, right? So I feel much better having purchased things. Like this Black Friday was a bit of a event, but we
Man's
don't talk.
poor.
I spent so much. It's just okay. I still got like $2.60 in my bank account.
That's pretty good, bro.
um, in a company. In company, not in a company.
In a company.
In a corporation. In company, do you initiate conversation or wait to be approached? Okay. This is very difficult for me to answer. Because if there's only a certain type of person around, I am going to like stay as far away from people as I can unless they approach me, in which case I'm forced to remain. But generally speaking, especially much more frequently, I have begun to be the one to initiate the conversation. And just in a habit of doing that, it has raised my confidence exponentially, and I feel way better about myself, so I'm going with A.
I'm going with B. So fun story. I can nearly like all of my friends in Texas, I can basically directly trace back to one person who talked to me on the first day of my new school. So that should tell you that it's very much a B for me.
Dang. I mean, it's cool. You can trace, because I can't do that. I know people from everywhere. That's just kind of part of the being in the things that I've been in, I guess. So I don't know.
30. Common sense is rarely questionable or frequently questionable.
Common sense?
Yeah.
Hooey. Common sense is rarely questionable. Well, people's ideas of common sense differ depending on what in the world they believe to be common sense. So I think common sense is frequently questionable. I tend to question a few common sense things. Whether I believe that it's questionable or not, I just do it because I just find it funny. So I'm going with B.
Yeah, me too. I think common sense is something that's more uh how to say this? More traditional than it is true in a lot of circumstances, if that makes sense.
That does, yeah. That's a good way of putting it. 31. Children often do not A, make themselves useful enough, or B, exercise their fantasy enough. Oh gosh.
It
B.
depends on the child. You can't do this to me. So.
B.
Uh,
I'm a firm believer in that children do not exercise their fantasies nearly enough.
oh. I'm gonna go with B too. I'm gonna go with B mostly because I kind of disagree with the idea that they have to make themselves useful.
Yeah.
Not
I
particularly.
think making themselves useful just sounds like some kind of social construct.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not exactly comfortable with saying that they should be making themselves useful.
Yeah. Bit boomer, in my humble opinion.
In making decisions, do you feel more comfortable with standards or feelings?
Uh, in making decisions, what kind of decisions?
Just in general.
Like, um, like the decision to clean my desk? I don't feel like it, so I don't. um, I think I'm a feelings fellow.
Same.
I
I
think,
think it. For me, it mostly just comes from the fact that in making decisions, it's more based around the circumstances than it is. Like I hold different
yeah,
decisions to different standards.
right. It's very much dependent on the context.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. 33. Are you more firm than gentle or gentle than firm? A B. Because
I
I
agree.
have a strong dislike for uh, uh, an over amount of firmness, which to me actually is a pretty like I have a very low tolerance for specific degrees of firmness. Like uh, some people just behave firmly and like they just appear stiff and unapproachable, and it's just like, yeah, I don't like hanging with you. I don't know. Just yeah, I think I'm more gentle than firm. At least I hope I am. This is how I perceive myself.
Which is more admirable, the ability to organize and be methodical, or the ability to adapt and make do?
I believe the ability to adapt and make do is far more admirable.
I agree. I think everybody can be organized and methodical. AKA
Yeah.
everyone can follow a script, but not everyone can act. If that makes
Oh,
sense.
oh yeah. I can follow a script just fine, but oh my gosh, I hope you never have to see me act out in anything because I suck. I'm much better at like doing like voices for people like in like conversation, but it's like I could never be on a stage like in a play specifically. Like
Mm-hmm.
I could never be in a play. It's I my brain has this weird problem where it locks up between like taking the role to like the highest degree and just following the script so rigidly, and I just kind of like lock myself and then just wind up not doing anything because it just gets stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I believe so. I believe the ability to adapt is far more admirable because while organized things like look nice, there is something about being able to move and flow with things.
Yeah.
35. Do you put more value on infinite or open-minded?
Yeah, I have no
Okay.
idea what this is saying.
Yeah, I don't get this question at all. Do you put more value on infinite or open-minded?
Infinite. So never ending or considerate?
Dad's just giving me sign language right now. They don't help. They don't help none. He's just waving infinite height, open width.
Wide, deep.
For sure.
Infinite knowledge or open minded to all knowledge, maybe?
No, it would say that.
I don't think
the
it
point.
would.
I think the point is that is that it wants us to speculate these
I'm
questions.
going for open minded. I'm going B.
B seems pretty nice. Yeah. Actually, well,
I'm just going off of the infinite knowledge or open-minded to knowledge scenario right now.
I'm gonna go with A. I'm going with A. Because if that is what the case is, then I would much rather just have the knowledge than be like open to having the knowledge. I just want it. Like, no. Yeah.
Does new and non-routine interaction with others stimulate and energize you, or tax your reserves? That is tax my reserves.
No, I knew you were gonna say that, and I think I'm very much A. I am a little too adventurous to have my reserves taxed that easily. I knew you were gonna say that. Gosh, that is the most you thing to say too. Are you more frequently a practical sort of person or a fanciful sort of person? Depends on the case. Oh gosh. Because I feel like you would be a little more on the practical side, but I don't know where I stand relative to your sense of practicality. Fanciful sort of person. I mean, I like to fantasize about a different kind of practicality, so I don't know.
I think that puts you in
B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm B. Yeah. You?
Yeah, more practical. 38. Are you more likely to see how others are useful, or see how others see?
Okay. I will go with B, because as a former patrol chief of like 10 guys, I think a lot of my job was to figure out how to see how others see, not just to see them as like tools to meet an end, like how they are useful with it, like on the rugby field and like beating the other patrols, but also like figuring out that their personalities are different from mine and that they're to tap into their energy is far more useful for them. It's far more useful to really figure out how the person sees, so that then you can meet then you can meet them there. Yeah. Because there's ways to do that with there's ways to do that with every person ever.
Yeah.
So I believe I'm very much a B fellow.
Yeah, I agree. I'm B too. I like getting into people's heads. It's fun.
Yes, reading their minds.
Yeah, basically. This might be like why I like acting in history so much. It lets me get into other people's head spaces.
Paint in their heads a visual, or rather have them paint their visual in your head.
Basically.
And let's see how scared you are of each other. Alright, so 39. Which is more satisfying? To discuss an issue thoroughly, or to arrive at agreement on an issue? Why can't you arrive at an agreement after discussing the issue thoroughly?
Well, you can, but which would you rather have?
Oh, the discussion or the agreement being the more satisfying bit?
Yeah.
The agreement. I can't. If the discussion doesn't go like in a direction that I enjoy, I either leave or I just get razzed to death and then I leave. So I just need an agreement. I like agreeing on things. So, in as much as just I don't know.
Guess what?
Stuff.
I disagree.
What?
Nah, I'd rather have the discussion. I think the discussions are more telling than arriving on agreement. I don't think discussions or debates have to arrive on an agreement. It's about how each person thinks. That's the actual important part to me.
Well, see, I get that, but at the same time, I've had plenty of discussions in the past that lead to the exact opposite of an agreement, which makes the discussion for me very, very unenjoyable, because if the discussion doesn't conclude in a comfortable manner for me, and I'm really, really not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to have enjoyed the experience, and I will have considered it, at the very least, a waste of my time. Because
I can see that, but I think it goes back to the previous question, where for me, it's I would rather understand who I'm discussing with than they agree with me.
Well, yeah, but I can understand them as the discussion happens, but I do want to agree on, like, certain things. It's dependent on the discussion. I can't... Like, if it's a very clear disagreement, then I leave the conversation feeling highly, highly discouraged. And that's never a good thing, and that makes me desire to actively not want to discuss that topic, either that topic ever again or discuss with that person ever again. So I would it's far more satisfying to me to arrive at an agreement on an issue. Keep in mind, though, like, I do enjoy discussions, and it's like... Yeah. Arriving at an agreement is only marginally more satisfying than the actual discussion, but because of that margin, I say B.
All right, interesting. Which rules your heart more, your head or your heart?
Yeah. Which rules you more, not which...
Same thing.
Which rules you more, your head or your heart? So logic or emotions?
Yeah.
Dad, am I run by my head or my heart? Oh, he doesn't know. Okay, well, I'm dead. I find it much more entertaining to just guess your answers. Pretty sure I would guess your head.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's my head.
I think it's my heart. Because while I do, like, put a lot of value into the logical aspect of it, it's I think it again ties back to that whole letter of the law thing, and that like a few of those other questions we had about the firmness and gentleness and the common sense deal. It's like I don't know. It's just I think I'm much more ruled by my heart. Just me. Are you more comfortable with work that is contracted or done on a casual basis? Oh, B.
Contracted for me.
Contracts kill me, but I'm trying to enter an industry that would pay the most money on a contracted basis. So I can get used to it. I just like doing things casually.
I like casual things too, but the thing with me is I don't know, I just want it in writing. I don't trust people. It's not that I don't trust, like, if I enter into a contract with somebody, it's not that I don't trust them, I just don't trust people. It's like I can trust you 100% not to do anything, but I still want a contract. Just in case something happens. Basically as insurance.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
I just want it there.
Interesting.
It has nothing to do with, like, the trustworthy of the individual. It has just entirely to do with I just want something set in stone, basically.
That sounds very you, to have a little bit of insurance just cuz.
Alright, 42. Do you tend to look for the orderly or whatever turns up?
In what regards?
I think just, like, in general. I think you can think about it in terms of, like, friends. I mean, maybe a work environment.
Well, whatever turns up, do you tend? I think I'm B on this one. I tend to go for whatever turns up.
Yeah, I agree. I'm. It might seem weird, but I think it goes back to what I was saying, is that I kind of like the eye of a hurricane. Is that I kind of like being surrounded by chaos, but I don't necessarily like it, like, in my area. But just, like, the orderly just kind of annoys me, in general.
Interesting, because I would have figured you were the A.
I might be.
Still though,
It depends. It entirely depends. Because like in a working situation, I would tend to lean towards the orderly, but I think in most other things, I would turn to whatever turns up.
Hmm.
I would guess if I could also rephrase this to if you tend to look for the expected or the unexpected, I'd lean
Oh,
towards unexpected.
oh yeah, then I would definitely be unexpected. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with B, but I'm not convinced on that. I'm not convinced myself that I do look for whatever turns up.
Hmm.
I'm
Well,
conflicted about that one.
do you prefer many friends with brief contact or a few friends with more lengthy contact? B. Definitely B.
B.
I am I highly value uh, a very long amount of I mean, like this podcast, for example.
Yeah.
No, but I enjoy having long conversations with people, and that can only really technically it can only happen most frequently with one or two people at a time.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy a few friends with more lengthy contact.
Yeah, I don't really understand people who are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna swing by to say hi," and I'm like, "But why?"
Yeah,
If
and
you're
people
gonna
who
be here
like
for 5 minutes, just let me sleep.
well, it's also just I I've never been one to really enjoy being popular to the point where I would call many people my friends,
Mm-hmm.
because that's too many friends for me. I have a lot of acquaintances,
Yeah,
but
same.
I don't I don't have many friends. Friends is a very special word to me that I would take try to take as seriously as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So your turn.
Yeah. Do you go more by facts or principles?
This one again.
Gosh dang it. It's the slight tweaks that make it difficult.
Yep. The nuance in the question.
How you feeling on this?
I think I go more my principles like to be very guided by fact, but I go by principle a lot, I think.
All right, I'm gonna
I think
disagree
I'm
with
going
you on that one. I like facts better.
I'm going B though, so
I'm
very well.
very annoying in the sense that if you ever talk to me about like historical events or like how I pass judgment on things, I will always say it's almost a case by case basis. In its entirety, I will almost always say it because I'm the most annoying type of person.
Well, that's not annoying to me though, because like I agree 100%. There's so many things that are case by case, far more things than people would typically even like give credence to. So it's like, yeah, no, I can roll with that.
Yeah.
In some scenarios. Yeah. So 45. Are you more interested in production and distribution or design and research?
Ooh.
Ooh. Ouch. Design and research, or production and distribution. B.
I'm gonna go with A.
Well then, I'm not entirely sure why I'm saying the answer I'm saying. I just think it's
I feel like I
better.
should be going for B, but I just think that like my pragmatism is holding me back from. Yeah, again, I think both are very necessary, but I guess I'm less concerned with what we're making than dealing with what we have now.
Yeah,
making what we have now better than I guess creating something new in a way. I like the creative bit.
I like the design and the research that goes into the bettering.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. Like, I feel like I should be going A, but I mean, I feel like I should be going B, but I don't know. My gut feeling is saying A, so I'm gonna go with A.
Yeah, I'm going B on that.
Which is more of a compliment? There, which is more of a compliment? There is a very logical person, or B, there is a very sentimental person.
There is a very
compliment. That's such weird phrasing.
No. Like he walks away, and then you stare after him and go, there is a very logical person. No, it's a verbose statement. That's what it is. I don't know. Which is more of a compliment? Logical or sentimental? I despise fake sentiment,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like being accused of possessing fake sentiment. So I want to say A, but I feel like I am very sentimental in a lot of things that I really shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can make logical decisions about them, but I dwell a lot on the sentimental value of them to me. So if somebody were to come up to me and say that I was logical, that'd be cool. If someone were to come up to me and say that I was sentimental, that'd be cool too. Which one's cooler? What do you reckon on this?
I'm leaning towards B, because I think saying that there is a very logical person is kind of a weirdly very neutral term to me. It sounds much more like an observation than sentimental, I guess. It feels just more like an objective statement, whereas there is a very sentimental person. Even if it's not in a good way, at least it sounds like there's some emotion behind it.
I just see them both as something objective and blank. So I'm not completely certain. I think perfect logic doesn't. I'm going B. I've gotten B for the last 9 questions. What the heck? Anyways, let's see. Do you value in yourself more that you are unwavering or devoted? Aren't those 2 words for the same thing?
No. You can have unwavering principles but be devoted to somebody.
In
writing aspect, it's principles versus loyalty, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of rephrasing it. It's principles versus loyalty.
I have yet to be in the opportunity to be devoted into something or someone more than the religion I partake in.
Right, but
besides,
the question is, then maybe a scenario helpful that would be is if your religion changed principles on something that you believe very strongly in, are you more devoted to that religion, or you're more aligned with its principles?
Principles that I hold?
Yeah.
Then in that scenario, then I'm unwavering.
I agree.
If principles change on something, that severely affects my outlook on the thing itself.
Yeah. Do you more often prefer the final and unaltered statement or tentative and preliminary statement?
Dad's looking at 16 personality memes, and there's some really good ones right now. Every time I've taken this test, I've scored an ENFP, so I'm wondering if I'm going to score something similar on this run. And then there's like all these
Not
Disney
really.
characters that are ENFP, and I'm worried about how much I don't actually like them in general. Except maybe that one. That one's like I don't know. Anyways, back to the question. I think I prefer A because at least something's final. That I like hanging loose, but at the same time, I don't like things being too terribly tentative. It bothers me uncomfortably to have something still preliminary. If there's something final, whether I like it or not, at least it's final and I can work with
Yeah.
that.
I like the end result more than even if like the beginning is not something I necessarily like. If the end is fine, I don't really care.
All right. Um. Yeah, I'm A. So 49. Are you more comfortable after a decision or before a decision? After.
Before.
I can't deal with indecision. It cripples me so.
I can't deal with the fact that I've made a decision. It's too set in stone. I don't like it. I like something set in stone. I like having defined options. I do not like choosing, though.
Okay, actually I'm very similar in that regard, but having options also cripples me because then there's pressure in my mind about whether or not like an option is right, and I really don't like having too many options either. Otherwise it's just like I don't know. I can't deal with having options and not acting on them. It's like that thing where it's like that other question where it was about um, are you more comfortable with the option to buy or the act of buying? It's like I'd much rather buy things because otherwise it's just sitting there and it's like, but there's this other thing too that sounds very similar and it's like, and then it just comes down to a preference and then it's like
50. Do you speak easily and at length with strangers or find little to say to strangers?
it's A. I'm very much A.
B. I have to gauge somebody before I can engage with them fully.
My gauging is the engaging with them fully. It's like my dad says to me a lot, like friends have everything you want, but strangers have everything you need. So it's kind of that whole deal where it's like I speaking with strangers is actually way easier for me than talking with people I've known for a while because there's different things that I can talk to strangers about that somehow are easier to say than if I was talking to somebody I knew. Like it's strange and it sounds counterintuitive, but it just works in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, 51. Are you more likely to trust your experience or hunch? Gosh, I hate this question so much because I act a lot on hunches, which a lot of people just find absolute lunacy. To their credit, but I tend to trust my experience with things because if things work a certain way after doing a certain thing, then it's most likely going to work again in that regard.
Mm-hmm. I would say hunch. I'm one of those people who, if I was like way back and like whenever like modern philosophy was really starting to come up, I'd really want to just be one of those skepticals. Is like, but prove to me the sun will come up tomorrow.
You're like our friend Gabe. It's just like but you see, clouds are a social construct invented by the cloud company so they could sell more clouds.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I tend to trust my hunch. I think
It's like
experience can predispose me to something.
the weather
that
forecast says it's going to be 74 tomorrow, but is it really?
Yeah, it's like you're giving me a 50% chance of rain, but if it doesn't rain, like
then it
what's
wasn't
going on
50%.
here? Yeah, it was a 0%
It's a conspiracy.
chance.
Yeah, well, then I'm definitely experienced then because I don't think like that at all. I'm actually a little more trusting. Whether ironically or unironically, I don't really know, but that's pretty funny.
Do you feel more practical than ingenuous, or more ingenious than practical?
Ingenious? Is it ingenious? That's not ingenious.
No, ingenious. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Ingenious. Oh, it is how you spell ingenious. Clever, original, and inventive. Well, am I more this than that? I think I'm more. I feel. You can judge me how you will, but I feel like I'm B.
I'm gonna go with A, which is kind of funny because I feel like that's saying the opposite of what we said for the last one.
Well, I mean, it lets us do that clearly, so that's obviously valid. So, well, all right. Which person is more to be complimented? One of clear reason? One of strong feeling? Oh. Which person is more to be complimented?
Okay, I have this theory. I don't think this is true for everyone, but I think for a lot of people, they very much like to admire people with a different skill. Like if you ever see like in fantasy books where like a very reasoning, like logical kind of cold person will kind of say how they wish they could, like feel strongly about something, and then like the strong feeling character will be like, they wish I could think about this logically.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a real life thing too.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think people who are very rational will tend to be more admirable of more emotional people, and more emotional people will tend to be more admirable of those with a lot of rationality.
So really, this question is, which type are you? Choose the opposite.
Well,
because you would envy that other type.
Maybe. But at the same time, like there are some people who also just be like, I'm better because of it, so it's not everyone. It's a case by case situation.
Oh my gosh. Case by case. I think a person who is more strong feeling would tend to be. See, I'm trying to figure out which person would be more popular. Because stronger feeling people tend to be more popular because they puff it up and they really go hard on.
Or is that their rationality to make them get more popular?
I'm going to assume that people aren't calculated sociopaths.
Really?
I'm going to assume that this question.
Popular people are.
I'm going to assume that the question is asking about genuineness as opposed to the shrewd calculation and manipulation of how people behave.
About that? It's trying to deal with your real life personality, which means that all of these are real life situations.
Shut up.
in which you should not trust your experience, but your hunch.
No, shut up, Miguel. That's not well played. Well played. I'm gonna go with clear reason.
I'm gonna go with strong feeling again, with the begrudging respect to people who have very strong feelings and principles.
And again, from my part, with the begrudging respect of people who can think, at the very least, logically. Logic might not always be the answer to everything, but it is admirable, in my regard.
Wait, hold up. Are we on 54?
Yeah, we're on 54 now.
Hold up. I think I've made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What have you done?
I accidentally marked off for 54. I don't know how I did
Oop.
that. Anyways, are you more inclined to be fair-minded or sympathetic?
That's
I
difficult.
think I'm gonna go for fair-minded, but I do tend to be very sympathetic.
Well, then you should be sympathetic.
I guess inclined towards sympathetic. I think in judgments I tend to be more fair-minded, but I'm more inclined to the sympathy. I kind of have to cut my sympathy off with making decisions.
I'm very much the same, but I am inclined to be sympathetic to a lot of things, like those small things that have no rationale, and I want to introduce rationality to it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it catches me for an instant, and it's like, but you could just be emotional response to it, and I'm like, I could be, but I'm not going to be. But would that mean I'm more inclined to make the fair-minded decision because I disregard the sympathetic?
Yeah, I think it depends what it means when, like, inclined to. So my knee-jerk reaction is usually sympathetic. So I'm going to say sympathetic. But that's because that's just what my knee-jerk reaction usually is.
I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going B as well. Solely because I tend to be a little more emotional to begin with, and when I have a moment of irrationality, it's like, oh my gosh. Anyways, let's just move on. Is it preferable mostly to make sure things are arranged or to just let things happen?
God bless you.
Thanks. I want to say B, but I don't know. Is it preferable to make sure things are arranged or to just let them happen? This kind of ties back into the whole spontaneity of
Yeah.
some people's behaviors.
I would say that if you're really conflicted, your knee-jerk reaction is best.
My knee-jerk reaction is to just let things happen.
Yeah, my knee-jerk is to make sure things are arranged. But again, I do like a fair amount of chaos. It's just that, I don't know, when dealing with something like important, I guess, I'd much rather make sure they are arranged.
Right. Is it preferable mostly to... Oh, wait, I already asked that. Never mind.
Alright. What, you gonna go with B?
Yeah, I'm going with B.
Alright. In relationships, should most things be renegotiable or random and circumstantial? Or circumstantial, sorry. I don't know if I got a B in there.
That's rough, because I would like to say renegotiable as well, but having things circumstantial helps with a wide variety of situations, I think. Not actually being, well, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm leaning towards renegotiable just because I think there are a lot of things that are not set in stone, but maybe like set in wood. I think in a lot of things I do, I think you should feel strongly about what you do and, like, I don't know, like relationships and all that stuff. But I think in general they should all be renegotiable. That you should always be ready to change them. But
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't have a baseline principle.
That makes sense, and that's actually a good way of phrasing something that I certainly have experienced throughout my life. I'll go with A also. All right. When the phone rings, do you hasten to get it? Well, gosh dang, I was gonna snap A. If you were reading that, I would have snapped A. I hasten to get it first. I want that phone answered, and I'm gonna do it.
No.
I have tackled siblings for the phone, okay?
No.
What? What do you... No, I can't just wait for someone to answer. That just sounds annoying. My dad sympathizes with you, by the way.
Ah, yes.
Wow.
Do you prize more in yourself a strong sense of reality or a vivid imagination?
Come on. It's difficult because while abstracting things can be fun, I also like bringing things back into a concrete form. Um, I want to say that I have a strong sense of reality and that I have a vivid imagination, but which do I prize myself more in? Ooh, the imagination.
I'm gonna go with a sense of reality.
We agree on a lot, but then the things we differ on make absolute sense on why we differ on it. It's like that phone question. I had a feeling you were going to snap that answer like before we even started this, because I remember snapping the opposite answer, and I always will because, yeah. Well, are you more drawn? Are you are you drawn more to fundamentals, overtones? Overtones. Um, fundamentals, I would say. I don't know about you.
I think actually overtones.
What? In which way are you interpreting overtones then? Because I'm not really sure how to.
I just looked up a definition and it said, like the small stuff, if you will, subtle or subsidiary quality, implications or connotations. And I think for me, it's overtones because I have come to a very strong realization that I'm not going to align my fundamentals with a lot of people. I don't really think that anyone's going to find somebody who has all the same fundamentals. So to me, it's much more important about the more little things or what the connotation is, why they're doing something, rather than what it is in itself, because I just resigned myself to understanding that our fundamentals will not match.
I guess I hold out hope that fundamentals will match at some point, because fundamentals not matching has always led to very disgusting disagreements with certain types of people, and it's been very negative experiences for me in a lot of senses. So I reckon. Oh. Your thing sounds so convincing. Fine.
I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to give you my
but like you make a point that I've definitely thought of at one point before, but I don't. But since I don't behave the same way, I don't feel. I guess it's
just because you think a point is convincing doesn't mean you've been convinced by it.
Well, fair point.
Like, you can agree with a lot of points made, but not agree with the conclusion.
Yeah, I guess so. That has always been a conflicting thing in my mind, though. Like agreeing on certain points, but never agreeing on the conclusion. It's like that wrecks me mentally. It's like why does it not line up?
Which seems the greater error, to be too passionate or to be too objective?
Gosh, I want to say A.
I'm gonna go with A too.
If you're overly passionate about something, then you really lose sight of the facts. But if you're too objective, I don't reckon you ever could be too objective, because even if you're callous about it, I admire the callousness of being too objective. It's because it's objective, which implies a sense of truth being made.
Well, that's not
some semblance of fact.
That's not really true. Objective does not imply truth. It means non-personal. It doesn't
No.
actually have any truth in it. An objective statement is not always going to be truthful or have any truth in it. And a subjective claim does not necessitate it not being true.
Well,
It's a presentation, not a judgment on the truthfulness of a statement. To me, I would lead towards being objective, less the fatal error, because at least there's it can be reasoned with, I guess. Is that because it
right.
deals with facts? It will at least see most things as useful in one way or another. Where I believe that passionate tends to become very destructive very quickly.
Right.
Whereas being too
Yeah.
objective, at the very, very least, it can be utilitarian. Which provides at least some good, I guess.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as basically hard-headed or soft-hearted?
Soft-hearted.
Both.
As I said, almost everything I hold is renegotiable. I have a strong commitment to my ideals, but I'm not stubborn about them, I guess.
I'm difficult because I'm just difficult. I think I'm a bit more on the hard-headed side, which actually dismays me to say, because I would love to be a little more soft-hearted, but when it comes to when it gets busted down into what you believe in and things that I believe very strongly about, I'm very I can grow very callous very quickly towards the opposition if the opposition says something in a tone of voice that I do not appreciate.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go A on that.
Okay.
No, nothing.
Right. 62. Which situation appeals to you more? The structured and scheduled, or the unstructured and unscheduled? I'm going structured and scheduled.
And I'm going the opposite, baby. I like how that's pretty much the one thing we really, really differ on is the structuredness of our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the scroll bar down up just enough to where there's space above the 63 right there, and my scroll bar is just down to the point where it's almost touching it.
Oh.
Which I have actually had a lot of adverse reactions to by people who see me scroll that way, but it's like the whole letter is on the screen, so I don't care. I'm chaotic, I guess. Far more chaotic. All right. So are you a person that is more routinized than whimsical, or whimsical than routinized?
I keep to a routine. Even if I don't really have it planned out. I think that's the big difference with why I struggle to say that I'm very scheduled or I stick to a routine, is the fact that it's not really a conscious thing. It's more just subconscious. I just tend to stick to doing the same thing. So I'll say routinized.
I'm a bit more on the whimsical side, I think. I'm gonna go B.
64. Are you more inclined to be easy to approach or somewhat reserved?
I would much rather let somebody else answer that question because I have no idea how approachable I actually am. It depends.
Oh, sorry.
No, nothing.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go with A, which might seem contradictory, but I don't think it is. I'm not really reserved when I talk to people. It's just if you approach me, I'll talk to it, and if whatever you want to talk about, I'm down.
Interesting. That's not the answer I was expecting from you. I'm gonna go with A.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I do approach people, at least they bother to stick around for a little bit. So hopefully that indicates something good about me. Um, 65. In writings, do you prefer the more literal or the more figurative? Ugh. Figurative or literal?
I'm going to go with figurative. I think writing is one of the few places where I really think that, where I prefer the imagination as opposed to the practical, I guess.
I'm not entirely sure that's what it's asking, but I would have chosen figurative for a different reason, and I also would choose literal because of me valuing a far more direct path towards the message that's being sent.
Yeah, that's fair.
As opposed,
but as I said earlier, I think the interpretations tend to be more important.
Yeah.
Than the literal message.
I've always valued the message to be more important because if the message is if the message is what people are actually focusing on, which some people do focus on, then that's difficult. But then again, I'm also one who doesn't even care about a message to begin with, so B, because I just don't. Because I don't like having a message shoved in my face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it harder for you to identify with others or utilize others? I'm gonna go with utilize.
I don't know. Identify with others? That's not sympathize with others.
No, it's identify. Understand. Get in their headspace.
I can get in their headspace, but I can also use them. That's difficult. I reckon A. Oh, wait, hang on. It's harder for you too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's harder for me to utilize others because there are times where like I only need a certain amount of people to help me on a certain job, and then it's just like too many people and it gets too much to deal with, and then I just get completely scatterbrained, and then I'm like, okay, I'm firing everyone and I'm gonna do it all on my own then. So yeah. It's my question next. Which sorry, I was waiting for you to say something. Which do you wish more for yourself? Clarity of reason or strength of compassion? God.
Clarity of reason. As I said, my knee-jerk reaction is always to the sympathetic, so I'd like to balance that out a little bit.
I'm not compassionate towards things and people a lot of the time for certain scenarios. I can be the one to look at certain things way too objectively for a lot of other people's comfort. I know I'm going long, yeah. Yeah, I know. We're almost done.
Okay, we need to get moving. We've already almost hit our time, and we've crossed our time possibly.
Yeah, we've pulled way ahead. I'm gonna go B.
All right, 67. Which is the greater?
No.
Huh?
68.
Potato. Which is the greater fault? Being indiscriminate or being critical? I'm going with being indiscriminate.
Indiscriminate?
Yeah. I don't like collective judgment.
Being indiscriminate. Yeah. Being critical. There's nothing wrong with being critical. I'm going A. Do you prefer the planned event or the unplanned event? Again, it depends. It depends on the type of event.
100% planned.
I'm generally more of the unplanned event, so because then if it's planned, then I'm like, oh no, this means I have to look forward to it, and now I don't want to look forward to it.
Fair. Do you tend to be more deliberate than spontaneous, or
Spontaneous.
than deliberate?
I
Deliberate.
am much more spontaneous. I think anyone could have seen that coming for both of us. You're an INFJ?
INFJ or INTJ, but INTJ didn't really work. So I'm looking at this one.
Oh, here's here, I'm gonna send you some summary sites of it too. This is that. And this is that.
Oh, the Advocate. Yeah, that's what I got last time I took this test.
Oh, you have taken this before.
I've taken the online version. Yeah, no, it's the Advocate. The Advocate is the one because the Advocate is the one I got before.
Okay. You sure it hasn't moved over to the Architect?
Well, not according to this one. What I'm looking at on this one, it had the INTJ being something I'm very much not. I would say I would stick with the Advocate. I think that's most accurate. But I'll look at the other one.
I have to figure out how to add all these scores up now. I don't understand. How do I do this? What? Are you good?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
Am I retarded?
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at this. This is just funny.
Does it describe you accurately enough?
The Architect does not. The Architect is kind of. I don't think so. I still think it's the Advocate. I think the Advocate best describes me when I originally took it and when I take it now.
And total at the bottom. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2. 8 over 2 for column 1. For column 2, I have the literal opposite. 2 and 8. For column 3, I have, holy shoot, 1A and 9 Bs. And then 2 and 8 again for column 4. And then for A and B, I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 5. Column 5. Same thing as you. How did you add it together?
Add what together?
Your scores to make the letters. Because, oh shoot, I got 2 that are 5 and 5. Columns 5 and 7. I'm gonna, let me see. I'm definitely an E, if that is correct. And then N. P. I'm the same thing again! Of course I am. ENFP. The campaigner. Every time. I think I've taken this test like 5 different times.
Yeah, no,
Well.
I'm definitely the Advocate, prone to burnout. Me after doing 5 weeks of school.
I
dude. I can barely make it through semesters. I get burnt out so much.
Really? I don't get burnt out nearly that easily, but yeah.
The problem
Okay.
is that like in the middle of all semesters or like towards the end, they always have a vacation, and that just destroys me. I just lose everything. Totally burnt out after vacations.
Oof. Introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. Introverted intuition with extroverted feeling. You're an introvert with extrovert coping mechanisms?
What are you?
What? No, I'm looking at yours, the INFJ. The advocate, otherwise known as the protector.
No, it's what I think it means is that you're introverted, but like an extroverted person, you kind of take care of other people, if that makes sense. You're introverted, but you can sometimes act like an extrovert.
Okay.
Basically,
Well, we shall put... What?
It's basically, I think it's kind of like acting like an extrovert with none of the characteristics of an extrovert, I guess. It's like what you typically think like an extrovert likes being around people and gets energy from it. I think what's saying is that like you tend to be around a lot of people, but you don't really get energy from it.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, ENFP. Extroverted intuition with introverted feeling.
You're an
The inspirer.
ENFP?
Yeah. The inspirer, the campaigner, or otherwise known as the champion. As an ENFP, your primary mode of living is focused externally. Warm, enthusiastic people, typically very bright and full of potential. A broad range of skills and talents. That's technically true, but I haven't utilized most of them in a long time. To onlookers, the ENFP may seem directionless and without purpose, but ENFPs are actually quite consistent in that they have a strong sense of values which they live with throughout their lives. Oh yes, very true. Interesting. So you're INFJ. Because the INFJ has such strong intuitive capabilities, they trust their own instincts above all else. This may result in an INFJ's stubbornness and tendency to ignore other people's opinions. They believe that they're right. On the other hand, INFJ is a perfectionist who doubts that they are living up to their full potential. INFJs are rarely at complete peace with themselves. There's always something else they should be doing to improve themselves and the world around them. They believe in constant growth and don't often take the time to revel in their accomplishments. That sound like you much?
Yeah, it does. It's really just the stuff about stubbornness and ignoring other people's opinions. But I guess I can see that a little bit in myself.
But the INFJ is as genuinely warm as they are complex. They hold a special place in the heart of people who they are close to, who are able to see their special gifts and depth of caring. INFJs are concerned for people's feelings and try to be gentle to avoid hurting anyone. They are very sensitive to conflict and cannot tolerate it very well. Situations which are charged with conflict may drive the normally peaceful INFJ into a state of agitation or charged anger. They may tend to internalize conflict into their bodies and then experience health problems when under a lot of stress.
Yeah, accurate. I don't think my heart's gonna like me later in life.
Stress from 5 weeks of school over the course of 12 years is going to catch up to you. INFJ strengths: warm and affirming by nature, dedicated to achieving the ultimate relationship, sensitive and concerned for others' feelings, usually have good communication skills, especially written. I don't know, your spelling mistakes in Discord can be pretty... anyways.
You haven't seen my scripts, bro.
I still think you're the only one who could probably read the scripts for your own YouTube videos.
Likely.
Take your commitments very seriously and seek lifelong relationships. Have very high expectations for themselves and others, both a strength and weakness. Good listeners and are able to move on after a relationship has ended once they're sure it's over. Weaknesses: tendency to hold back part of themselves, not good with money or practical day-to-day life necessities. Oh, dang. Extreme dislike of conflict and criticism, have very high expectations for themselves and others, both a strength and weakness, having difficulty leaving a bad relationship. That sound like you?
Yeah. I can see it.
I'm looking at mine again. An ENFP who has gone wrong may be quite manipulative and very good at it. That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It actually is easy to become good at that for me. Assuming I went bad, I guess. I don't know. ENFPs will exhibit the following strengths with regard to relationships issues: good communication skills, very perceptive about people's thoughts and motives, motivational, inspirational, bring out the best in others, warmly affectionate and affirming, fun to be with, lively sense of humor, dramatic and energetic, optimistic, strive for win-win situations, driven to meet others' needs, usually loyal and dedicated. Actually, I don't know. I dislike giving myself such airs due to an awkward problem with not liking giving myself any credit. But weaknesses: tendency to be smothering. Their enthusiasm may lead to them to be unrealistic. Oh, that's happened before, yeah. Uninterested in dealing with mundane matters such as cleaning, paying bills, etc. Oh, yes! Yes, absolutely. Dude, those kind of... Oh, my gosh. I hate chores. I hate chores so much. Ugh. It's going to get worse as an adult. Hold on to bad relationships long after they've turned bad. This is true. That's happened before. Extreme dislike of conflict and criticism. Yeah. I'd much rather the criticism come to me in my own head, and then if people tell it to me, I'm going to deny it and then retell it to myself so that I can trick myself into thinking that it was my idea. Because that's how dumb I am, I guess. I don't know. Don't pay attention to their own needs. True. Constant quest for the perfect relationship may make them change relationships frequently. Possibly. I don't know if I've gotten there yet. May become bored easily. Yes. Have difficulty scolding or punishing others. Yes. Dang, this is long.
I think we're gonna need to wrap this up soon. By the way, at the very least,
Oh.
I need to get going soon.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up right now.
All right.
You want to roll outro?
All right. Sure. All right, everybody. Well, that was the idiots on the airwaves taking the personality test. There is a name to it, but I have since forgotten it. So
It's the What?
Yeah, the MBTI
MBTI, yeah.
XL JK LMNOP personality test. Thank you guys all for watching. We are on Spotify and also YouTube, which you'll probably know because you're probably watching this on YouTube. But yeah, our links will both be in the description. We both run YouTube channels. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Laters.